first episode. Here we are. Here we go. We're diving straight into it. This is going to be, as you'll see by the title of the episode, our top 4 films. But I think we need to put a record scratch in that for the time being and talk about, introduce ourselves to our listening and viewing audience.
Especially for the fact that we don't have a name yet.
We don't have a name yet. Hopefully we'll have one
soon,
by the time you guys hear this. But we, long story, kind of long, because the thing that's going to happen here is I'm going to go on a million tangents that just end at a cliff, and then we'll have no resolution to that.
Well, that's how we got here in the first place, so that's how we got here.
That's how we got here. Yeah. So I am, in a distant past, a short filmmaker and cinematographer through like a master's course, and I work as a videographer for a marketing agency. And I reached out to you just to try and build my portfolio. Hey, can I come down, shoot some stuff for marketing assets, show off your classes? And then that's how we got acquainted. So do you want to tell everybody who you are and what you do? Why?
So I'm Shakeel, and my background is prop making and special effects. And so I had some gigs doing like movies and TV shows and stuff, and just throughout my career, just doing special effects and being right into horror movies. And that's basically how you kind of came across me in my studio in Kilmarnock, and you thought, oh wow, this is something pretty different that I want to shoot. So yeah, that's how we got rolling. Yeah.
That's how we got rolling. Long story short,
yeah.
Not long story long at all.
Aye.
So the thing that you've got up in your window that grabbed my attention was Art the Clown from Terrifier.
Yeah.
There's, I don't know his name, the guy from Buffy.
The gentleman.
The gentleman from Buffy. Yeah. And who else is it? The nun from The Conjuring and the Nun.
The Nun, yeah.
So it's very much a horror space that you've created there.
Exactly, yeah. Very eye-catching as well when you walk past, yeah.
Very eye-catching.
It's not something that, something that's pretty usual that you would see in a shopping centre, is it?
Not at all. even if it were to go into like a bigger city, it would still be unique.
Absolutely.
It's not just unique to Kilmarnock, in between, the vape shops and Turkish barbers.
Totally, and the charity shops and the pound shops and so on. But that's what it's all about. It was just doing something different and kind of catching people's attention. Like, what is that? So, and you were one of those people.
Exactly. I'm one of those people. One of those filmmakery types who's
Absolutely.
Still, the fire's still burning, the aspiration's still there.
Totally.
So we made some cool stuff. Well, we made some cool stuff. We made some cool videos on your cool stuff. So again, for people who don't know you, who don't follow you on socials, talk to us a wee bit more about you, because we've spoken about the gentleman and Art the Clown and stuff like that. But you also there's a vast array of fingers and hands and arms and fake food and stuff like that in your shop.
Yeah, it's a big mixture of everything. So the shop itself, it's a workshop. That's all it is. It's just a workshop for me to work on my projects, but also we host classes teaching people how to basically make this stuff, how it's made in the film industry, just giving them some that skill set to kind of start and go off creating like those kind of things. So because those skills are kind of pretty hard to come by, so it's good to have that hands-on technique and teaching on that. So. But other than that, it's a studio where I build all these creatures, like sculpt them and make prosthetics, fake hands, fake food, and special effects, blood and all that kind of stuff. And then, I do it, it's one, it's a hobby. Two, I do it for kind of clients and collectors around the world. So it's just an amazing space to create all that stuff. And you saw me when you first approached me, I just started that Jaws sculpture. It's now becoming a running joke because it's still not finished after 6 months, and it's driving me nuts. But we're nearly there. We're nearly there with it. It's just one of these things that just takes its time. That you can just step back and say, "It's done. I'm happy. It's beautiful," and that's it. Now, fuck off.
So no grand ideas of doing anything from like Jaws 2. Jaws the Return.
Absolutely no more sharks. Never again. Absolutely not.
Nice one. So let's start. Let's get in about it. In fact, no, let's not get in about it. Let's do. What have you been watching this week? Last week, what you been kind of like getting your eyes in about?
So recently, I got like a PR package through on Friday from Sony. I think it was Sony, yeah. It was something like that for the new Welcome to Derry box set.
Nice.
So, and upon that package, there was like, they gave me It Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 and the 40th anniversary Stephen King book, man. I was like, holy shit, man, this is so cool. And some biscuits and all that kind of stuff, so it was cool. So it was this 4K box set, steelbook. I've already seen Welcome to Derry. It's amazing. You know, if you don't know, it's made by the same people, the director that worked on the two films.
Oh, right, nice. I didn't know that.
So it's still got that kind of same feel, that kind of nostalgic as well to the kind of 50s and the 80s and all that kind of stuff. So, but I personally thought it was much better than the two films.
Right.
Yeah, I think they had that kind of stage to kind of explore the lore more on the story on that. So I've been watching that over the weekend. I can't really think of anything else. I think that was the main thing I got. What about yourself?
Nice. So I watched House of a Thousand Corpses, which is one of my absolute favourite horror films.
Absolutely love it, yeah.
And the only reason I watched it, I was in the mood to watch it, and I thought I had it on DVD, and I swear to God, I bought it on eBay, so it came through, but that must be like the 5th or 6th time I've bought that on DVD, and it's just the one that disappears through the cracks all the time.
Totally.
So I watched that. It's still as good as ever. And then I watched The Devil's Rejects in the back of that, and that did not hold up for me. I loved it when I first saw it.
Yeah.
And then the last time I watched it, I remember thinking to myself, this wasn't quite as good as the last time I seen it. No. And then I watched it then at the weekend, I was like, oh, this is not as good as I remember.
That's what I was going to say, like, what is your favourite between the two, like House of Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects? But for me, it's hands down, it's House of Thousand Corpses. Yeah.
Aye. The thing about, and well, not, this isn't turning into a Rob Zombie podcast.
No, it's
not. But I thought the dialogue in Devil's Rejects was just way too like trying to be edgy. Yeah. Everybody was saying fuck every third word. And I was like, this is not how people speak.
No, absolutely.
And then I made the mistake of watching 3 from Hell and
watched it once, we'll never watch it again.
No, absolutely not.
I just love the tone of House of Thousand Corpses. It's the colour. I just love the colours of the blues, the pinks and the reds, like throughout the movie. You know, it's just the kind of lighting. I think the lighting's amazing in it, and just the bold colours of the characters as well. I think that's just what makes the film pop. Yeah. You've got all these very kind of distinguished characters in there, and they're just absolutely insane. That's what I love about it. You know, it was a fresh take on this kind of new style of horror that came out back in the early 2000s. So yeah,
aye, man. And like Bill Moseley as Otis and House of a Thousand Corpses is just next level.
Yeah, far more intimidating than Devil's Rejects.
Yeah,
absolutely. the tone in that one, it was like just kind of dried out desert, kind of bright sunshine, Texas sunshine kind of type thing. I was like, it just kind of took away the colours and the tones away from that movie originally. So yeah,
definitely.
Aye.
Right. There we go.
That's our Rob Zombie. As much as I love him,
yeah,
he's made some shittles.
I think I read that he views House of a Thousand Corpses as his worst film. He just sees it as mistake after mistake after mistake.
I've never heard that one.
Mate, that's your best film by far.
Wow.
How true that is, I don't know. But it was, it was on the internet, so it must be true.
Yeah. Totally. Yeah, although, we could go on a tangent about Rob Zombie. Like, if you love him or you hate him. Personally, I like the guy. I thought his stuff, he's made some crackers, but he's also made some really bad.
Yeah.
I think the most recent one I've seen many years ago would have been The Munsters.
Mate, don't.
Let's not go there.
Let's not go there.
No.
That TV show holds a special place in my heart.
Same.
And what he did with that. No.
God. Yeah, I remember it Saturday mornings, BBC Two.
Yeah.
Munsters. That was it, man. That was my childhood right there. Yeah. So aye.
So let's dive into what we're here for.
Yes.
And we're here to introduce ourselves, which we've already kind of done.
Yeah.
But to also talk about our top 4, maybe 5 films.
All-time favourites. Yeah.
All-time favourites.
Cool.
All-time favourites. Mine's is all-time favourites / best ever made. What I think is the best ever made, because my favourite films aren't the best films ever made, but I can't speak about films without talking about what I think are the best.
Totally.
So my number one film of all time, and it is never going to be contested ever, is Ghostbusters. A lot of people are shocked by that because I'm pure pretentious when it comes to film. Sometimes I'm right up my arse. But the whole history of why, like the entire reason I got into the creative industry to begin with back in 2009 is because I wanted to be a writer. and I wanted to be a writer because of Dan Aykroyd and John Belushi from
Yep.
the original cast of Saturday Night Live and
Uh-huh.
the original seasons, and that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a sketch comedy writer because of the two guys, and I think Dan Aykroyd is an absolute genius. And I think like the peak of his powers is Ghostbusters. That was the last film that he was going to do with John Belushi before he died.
Yeah.
So they did Blues Brothers, they
Blues
did
Brothers, yeah, absolute classic.
Neighbours. Dan Aykroyd did like Doctor Detroit and wrote all this stuff. I think he's a mad genius, and like Ghostbusters was him at the height of his powers. It was Ivan Reitman at the height of his powers.
And he doesn't get enough credit for it either.
Does not get enough credit.
No,
So
doesn't.
even that cast with Rick Moranis, Bill Murray, what's his name, Harold Ramis,
Yep.
and Ernie Hudson. Sorry, excuse me. I think I said Bill Murray, but the chemistry with those four guys, or those five guys, is unparalleled, and that's why Ghostbusters. And I still to this day laugh at every wee line. Like I'll still barely laugh at the film, man.
Absolutely.
And that's why.
And that's why it's a classic.
This is a classic.
Yeah, absolutely. And effects wise, it was amazing.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
And I still like. I'm so ingrained. There's a lot of people that say there's only 3 Indiana Jones movies. I say there's only 2 Ghostbusters films. I've not seen anything past Ghostbusters 2. The 2016 remake, Afterlife, Frozen Empire, they just do not exist to me.
No. I actually enjoyed Afterlife. I thought
I've heard a lot of people say that.
yeah, and I got a bit emotional at the end of the movie. I suppose other people did as well. But Frozen Empire, yeah. I just when I watched the behind the scenes in Frozen Empire, I was just so disappointed how much CGI they relied on. You know, just for such like small scenes, it was really disappointing. You know, so hey ho. I think it as well, but that was just, I think it was filmed during COVID. I think that was maybe a contributing factor to it. So I don't know. But when you watch it, it's kind of disappointing when from, you know, back in the 80s and how they originally made the film, you know. It's just a simple set filming in the city, you know. That's why you got the real set there, you know. So,
So what about you? What do you think?
So it's always going to be Halloween for me.
Right.
Halloween is what got me into what I do now. You know, and I remember the first time I ever watched it was going downstairs late at night and looking through the crack of my door because my mum's watching Halloween and I'm peeking through it, and it's the scene where Jamie Lee Curtis is looking out the window and Michael Myers is standing out in the garden in the washing line, right? And that just forever like traumatized me. I was 8 years old. It traumatized me for like 5 years. And and that's just where it all started. I used to have nightmares about him. You know, when I was sleeping, I would always, the light at the bottom of my door, the crack, I would see a shadow go by, and I'm freaking out, imagine it's him that's coming for me and all that. And then, 2003, I think, Halloween Resurrection came out in the cinema. I must have been I was 14 then. Me and some friends go to watch it, and lo and behold, I didn't know it was about Michael Myers, and you know, I'm just going to see this horror movie called Halloween Resurrection, and the palpitations I was getting when I realised, oh my god! But when I came out that cinema, changed man, young boy, it changed my life for me, and that's just how it got into it, you know, how I got into it. But what I love about it is the behind the scenes stuff, the story about like the masks, how they were made, like the production was filmed in summer, and they had to make all these paper leaves and like get them all, collect them all, and put them all away and move them to the different sets and stuff. Just as well, like Robert Englund worked on the movie. Not a lot of people knew about that. He was there like as a kind of extra hand, kind of helping out on the set. There's a lot of you know, there's the forum as well. Back in the day when I got right into it, there was this michaelmyers.net forum, like, and you'd go on, and it's just, and then Facebook came about afterwards, and the arguments that you know, people weren't agreeing on one, the mask, like what the masks that were used, because Tommy Lee Wallace said that he cut the eye holes out, ripped out. Obviously, most of you all know it's a William Shatner mask, you know, but it was what he'd done to the mask and spray painted it white, etc., and how many they were. But there's rumours that actually Don Post Studios, who were the big mask producers back there, cut and made the masks for the set. You know, or what colour the coveralls, the boiler suit was, things like that, because everyone was wanting to get these screen accurate. Like, so I'm just loving the debates that I'm seeing online. What type of knife was used that Michael Myers used as well, and for like over about 40 years, everyone was like set on it was this Lamson knife, this 18-inch, 16-inch, I think, Lamson knife, and it turns out years ago they found out that the real knife was called a case. It was a brand called Case. It's just things like that, and it's just the story behind it. And again, John Carpenter is just an absolute genius. I just love it. Just how subtle the movie is. It's so simple, but it's just all about the suspense and the music, and there's not even any blood in it either, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, Halloween for me, hands down.
Nice one.
That's it.
Halloween's probably one of my favourite horror movies. I say probably as it's like top 1 or 2.
And it's the movie that inspired the next generation of filmmakers. You know, let's say the 90s Scream.
Yeah.
You know that's what inspired like Scream and so on and so on. So yeah.
Nice one. So number 2, I refuse to put this say these are number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 apart from Ghostbusters. But the next one on my list is Citizen Kane. Orson Welles' Citizen Kane. To continue on from my story about why I got into the creative arts and wanted to be a writer, when I did NC Media or whatever, they made us watch, or they didn't make us watch, they suggested we watch Citizen Kane in the filmmaking course. And then when I watched that film, I already wanted to be a writer. I was like, no, I want to be a director. That guy, Orson Welles, he's my absolute hero, and that film just blew me away. Like, seeing it for the first time ever, not knowing anything about it, and just the techniques involved, the story, the acting. Like, everybody says, oh, it's the best made film of all time, he's the best director of all time, but his performance in that film as Charles Foster Kane is still some of the best acting I've ever seen, man.
Well, I'm going to hold my hands up and say
I've
never seen it.
That's fine. Like, there's like a whole new generation of people that haven't seen it, but the film influenced so many of like your favourite filmmakers. It's such a, and I throw this word about more than many, it's a masterpiece. Everything to me is a fucking masterpiece, but this film is actually a masterpiece, and I love it. Like, the supporting cast are all tremendous, and it's of that style where, like, I really like silent films, and I really like the transition from the stage to the silent era to the kind of golden era of Hollywood, where it is still like you can see the director shout action, and then they all start acting very theatrically. Totally, I like that style of filmmaking. I like that style of acting. And that's the epitome of that. It's just like, to me, to anybody who's not watched Citizen Kane, not seen Citizen Kane, I'll talk to you about it for years. Watch it, man.
Who's in it?
It's also a guy, Orson Welles. There's a tremendous actor called Joseph Cotton who went in to be in stuff like Gaslight and The Third Man. They're just really, really well made European films. And then so the cast, before he made Citizen Kane as his first film, he had the Mercury Theatre. So they put on plays in New York on Broadway, and he basically brought the actors from the Mercury Theatre group to be in Citizen Kane. So it was all stage actors that were in it. But it's tremendous.
But see the difference between stage actors and film actors?
Yeah.
Huge difference, isn't it? It's just night and day. It's absolute night and day.
I remember even the difference between like British actors and American actors from because I remember there was something about the Jimmy Stewart film Flight of the Phoenix, where it's him and there's a German actor called Harley Kruger, and then the rest of it is like Richard Attenborough, British actors, and they were saying that I don't know how true this is. Jimmy Stewart showed up for the first table read with his script in his hand. All the British actors already knew all the lines, and he felt like such, like, I don't want to say idiot, but he felt so like self-conscious that he had to read off of the script where everybody else just knew the lines, and he says there was that level of professionalism about British actors that was above.
Because they all grew up in like Shakespeare and stuff like that. That's what was ingrained to them. Like, and when they went to school, it's Shakespeare actors, you know. So yeah, absolutely. And Shakespeare's hard to learn.
Also, this is not intended as slander, so if I'm talking shite in any of these stories, call me out on it, because I don't know better.
Same here.
Same here.
Absolutely.
What's up for you next?
Second one it has to be Terminator 2: Judgment Day. It's just like the almighty of special effects movies. It's just like, the first one's amazing as it is, but kind of class it more of as kind of horror thriller. But the effects, how advanced the effects went on into T2 was absolutely beyond amazing. Like, I think that was the first time they were properly testing out CGI and mixing it in with practical effects. Just how big the story was as well, talking about Judgment Day, the future, it felt so real. But for me, it was like, it is again just the effects The transition of Arnold Schwarzenegger from, like, you know, some bullet wounds that ends up his skin's kind of coming away, and you end up seeing endoskeleton underneath. And I just want to know how did they do that, man? And it's all these amazing, like, Stan Winston Studios were the studios that worked on it, and just these amazing talented practitioners like working on it and just kind of perfecting their craft. And obviously back then when we were kids, there was no internet or anything like that about, so you could only guess, like, you know, how it was done. But just the T1000 as well, just how they made that effect, and it still holds up.
Yeah.
Like 30 years later, it's absolutely amazing. But yeah, just the score. I just love how the score as well. It's just absolutely like epic. It's just beautiful. James Cameron is just the man. And
he's a genius.
And obviously, I think just before that, he'd done Aliens.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and it was that kind of same kind of style, you know, the kind of, again, with the colours and the tone of the movie, you know. So
I say, and a lot of people say, I'm piggybacking on a much smarter person than me's opinion, but I think he really is like the architect of the modern action movie with Aliens. Like, everybody followed his format after that, with the Marines and stuff like that.
Absolutely,
He changed the game twice. He changed the game with Aliens, and he changed.
I'm thinking Starship Troopers here with it, like the same thing with the Marines. That's, you know,
everything. Like, you can any time there's like a group of like special forces, Predator as well.
Yep.
I always think like Aliens was the first person to really make that mainstream. Could be wrong, but to me it is. But like, and I don't think, I'm just piggybacking on your choice here, but I don't think still he gets enough credit for how much he changed cinema, because he did it with Aliens, then he did it with obviously T2, then he did it again with Titanic, then 13 years later he did it with Avatar.
Absolutely.
And I'd say that's, I'm going to go and say it, that's like his work with Avatar is probably the most important advancement in film since Star Wars.
Right. Yeah, I agree. It's just the amount of time, like how long he took to make it, you know, so just try to perfect it, because obviously he wanted it to be perfect. He took that time, you know. That was it, 14 years, I believe the first one took. I'm not sure. Was it quite a long time?
I think he had the story for years, and then it was when, as the story goes, when he saw Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers, he saw Gollum with the motion cap stuff. He's like, all right, the technology's there that I can start putting this into like production. So I think it was from 2002, so 2002 until 2009 when the first one was released, or 2010. I can't remember which. That's how long.
And again, just kind of slightly going off subject, like with T2, but I'm going back to T1. It's just, again, finding out that Arnie wasn't originally meant to play the Terminator. He was meant to play Kyle Reese, because he'd always played these kind of the hero roles, and it was actually O.J. Simpson that was originally meant to play the Terminator. And it all kind of settled down with he was having lunch with James Cameron, and he was just kind of they were having a discussion, and Arnie's like, As the Terminator, he need to be, he need to walk like the machine, he needs to talk like the machine, you know, this and that. And they're just having this conversation about it, and James just says, if you know so much about this machine, then why don't you play him? And then that's how he became the Terminator. And it's just amazing just to kind of hear that kind of thing, because the Terminator wouldn't be Terminator without Arnold Schwarzenegger. And what I find like truly like inspirational, and like again I'm going back to the artists who worked on the movies, is it's these teams, these studios that were all collaborating together, that they were perfecting their craft, and they were all helping each other out, because back then, like going from the late 80s to the early 90s, you know, these studios were all helping each other. It's all these guys helping each other out on different films, and they all come together and they collaborated. That's what's amazing. You don't see that today, you know. And you know, they've done Predator, Aliens, which led on to like T1, T2, and this is where like their effects were just getting so much more advanced that then Spielberg, you know, entrusted it to do Jurassic Park, and then look what that gave us. But so yeah, number 2 for me is Terminator 2: Judgment Day.
Nice one. This will be a quick one for me, because I don't think you've seen this one either.
Probably not.
The next one up in my top 4 of all time is David Lean's epic Lawrence of Arabia.
No, I've never seen it.
And I will go on record and say this is the best looking film, the best shot film I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Just because of the scale. I mean, this is, you look up scale in the dictionary, there's a fucking picture of Lawrence of Arabia. It is huge. But the performance by Peter O'Toole, guys like Omar Sharif and Alec Guinness, who this is a wee bit of a tangent, I hate the fact that so many people just know Alec Guinness from Star Wars as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah, okay.
Because he had such a tremendous comedic and dramatic career decades before he was even in Star Wars, man. He's such a good actor. And that's all I'm going to say about that. But Lawrence of Arabia, it's so perfectly shot, and it is like it's just quality on screen because of the large they shot it in, like, I think it was 65mm Panavision blown up to 70 for release.
Wow.
And then it's just like the detail in every shot, every single shot. And I've said this before, another wee tangent, about Pinocchio. Every single frame in that is a piece of art. Genuinely believe that it's such a nice film. It's the same with Lawrence of Arabia. You could pause it at any point in the film and it's like a fucking painting. It looks amazing. And it was Freddie Young, the guy who won the Oscar for cinematography for that. He also won cinematography Oscar for Dr. Zhivago and Ryan's Daughter, which were also like collaborations with David Lean. So those two guys were like, they knew what they were doing. But if anybody hasn't seen it, it's a bit of a slog. It's 3 hours 40 or something.
What?
It's about the World War One with it. T. Lawrence helping like the Arabs against the Turks and stuff like that. But it's unbelievable. It's an unbelievable film.
I'll need to check it out because, like I've told you before, I used to work with a colleague who used to rave about it, and it's his all-time favourite movie. And he's in his like kind of late 50s, and that was his childhood, was, you know, Lawrence of Arabia. So I need to check it out.
People are shocked, especially Kirsty, my wife, and my mum and all that, because I how can that be a comfort film? How can 3 hours 40 minutes be a comfort film? And I was like, I watch this probably once a month.
Yeah. Oh, really?
That's how good it is. It's just it's like ingrained in me.
So that's my problem. Like, I've certainly most probably got undiagnosed ADHD. So my attention span, it is so hard to kind of focus on these things, you know. I've got to force myself to, you know, just sit there and just take it in and just easily distracted. So, nice. But I'll get there one day. I'll get there one day.
It's fine because if you get, like, it's old school. There's like an overture with the score, and then there's an intermission, like an hour and a half in, an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh, really?
So it splits it up a little bit.
Okay, cool.
But I highly recommend.
That's your number 3.
Well, I'm not putting numbers on it.
You're not putting numbers.
That's the third.
That's your third
choice.
Your third choice. Yeah, your third choice. Right. Okay. So my third choice is going to be. I'm going to have to go purely because growing up in the 90s. This was just a huge influence. There was the animated show, and it was just huge. And I just remember all the toys coming out in Woolworths, and then I remember the toys at McDonald's as well. And it was just amazing. And it's going to be Tim Burton's Batman in 1989. That movie, just when we go that transition from Adam West to Michael Keaton and that Batman suit, that I became obsessed. I was dressing up as Batman every day. I remember I made the mask. I used to run about in my mum's black dressing gown, and I bought like a utility belt from Woolworths, and it was just the coolest thing ever. And I was running about at night pretending to be the Dark Knight, man. That was my childhood. And it just the animated series came out as well. At the same time, so I think I first watched the movie and then got into the kind of the animated series because I had the same score by Danny Elfman as well. But again, the tone of the movie is just phenomenal. Jack Nicholson is just, he's nuts. He's absolutely nuts. And it's got that kind of Art Deco and kind of style, that 1920s kind of infrastructure, like Gotham City. It looks so gothic, and it's got that 1920s industrial look to it. So just everything, like the props, the sets, just everything about that movie is beautiful. Danny Elfman's score, it's just so like inspiring. It just wants to make you go and jump up and, you know, kill the bad guys and all that, man. And but again, just the story behind it with Michael Keaton and how he got so much shit for potentially going to be playing Batman because he had just played Beetlejuice, so they weren't taking it seriously because he's this comedy actor. But boy, did he prove them wrong. Right. So yeah, it's got to be and just forever, like that Batmobile is forever my favorite Batmobile. It's absolutely stunning. It's just the amount of work that went behind the movie, the sets, because I'm pretty sure they were built at Pinewood Studios. down in England.
Yeah.
They were all built there, so it was just the craftsmanship that went into that movie to make this huge summer blockbuster. And when you go back and watch, like, go on YouTube and you see like the hype that was going around for Batman, the queues outside the cinema was absolutely phenomenal. Like, you don't get that today.
No.
And it just sucks because it's just like nostalgia. It is just that nostalgia kind of thing. And it's just it's a thing that you can't, you long for it and you really miss it because you can't relive it again. But that's just what, it came out the year I was born, like 1989, but it was like, I'm pretty sure it didn't get released on video till a few years later, so but what an amazing movie, and Jack Nicholson just like pulled it off as a Joker. So that's my choice for Batman. Nice 1989.
Nice. I will say, to back up your points, or to throw my 2 cents in, I don't think Gotham City has ever looked anywhere near as good as Tim Burton's version.
Absolutely not. No. And I think you done a video the other
Batman
day,
Returns.
Batman Returns. So is Batman Returns your favourite out of the two? Yeah. How come?
I just prefer the story, and the thing that Danny DeVito as the Penguin is the best villain, I think, comic book villain there's ever been, and there's not a close second. Especially for Batman villains, but he was tremendous, and I really loved Christopher Walken as Max Schreck and that dynamic, and obviously Catwoman, and just the whole thing between the three of them, and the fact that it's, I don't know, there was like an action film, but it's also kind of a Christmas film, but it's also, and there's that dynamic, and then it was just seeing Batman try to overcome a new type of villain, because the when Max Schreck says, when it's found out that Penguin's Oswald Cobblepot, you two could have been bunkies at prep school. And I'm like, didn't even think that there's two sides of that coin of where they could have fell from their upbringings, and there's like nurture versus nature sort of thing that came into that. And I love, because the line when they're trying to make him run for mayor, and I even ended my wee Instagram video with it, and it's like, it could be worse, my nose could be gushing blood, and the guy's like, what? And then he just bites
his nose, and he's gushing everywhere. That was a brilliant scene. Nah, fair enough. For me, it has to be, the first one.
I think it's similar to you, because I'm sure Batman Returns was the first one I seen.
Oh, was it right? Okay.
Kind of foray into Batman, so that always kind of does stick with
you. The only thing I prefer in the second one was the look of the suit. I think it was a lot more like, what's the word that I'm looking for? It was just kind of crafted better, because obviously that was new to them when they were making the first suit. There was these new materials they were working with. They don't know how they were going to come about, because it was a lot of spandex and foam rubber and stuff, and it was pieces all brought together. Whereas this one looked like more like armor. It was more armor kind of. It had a more of an armor look to it. So it was more like everything looked like it was a kind of one piece kind of type suit, as opposed to this kind of bodysuit that had foam rubber onto it, into spandex and all that. So it was all in different pieces. So I think the suit looked more uniform than Batman Returns. So and the cowl as well, because you could see in the first movie how it looked really rough. You could see, and that's what I love about it though, it did look rough. You can see all the dimples and all the, like, because they brought out the mold, clearly there was some defects in the mold and stuff. The ears weren't straight, they were bending and stuff. So, and then you can see Michael Keaton as well, like the eyes were kind of hanging down a bit low, and he's having to, and he's doing that, all that kind of stuff as well. Like, he can't move his neck, but obviously they kind of perfected that in Batman Returns, and you can see how sleek, that's the word I was looking for, how sleek that the movie suit looked. So but nothing beats that utility belt. Just it was beautiful. And the Batmobile got a kind of, you can see the Batmobile member.
The armor on it.
That was cool as well. So aye.
Right, last one.
Yeah.
My fourth pick. This will, if anybody's ever had a conversation with me in real life, this will come as no surprise. But it is, again, I said Orson Welles is my absolute hero. If there's somebody that's chomping at the bit about to take that mantle, it is Sergio Leone, and it's The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Good, the Bad, and the
is
Ugly.
My number 4.
That one that I've not seen.
I get it. It is honestly, it's not for everybody. But the people who
that's why we're here.
Film, people who like the film love it.
Yeah, that's why we're here. We've all got different tastes. We grew up in different things, Yeah,
so. He's like, as a filmmaker. Well, the first like 3 or 4 films I made, I was well in my Sergio Leone like bubble, because the aspect ratio was wide as anything and tiny like that, like your traditional spaghetti western. And it didn't suit the tone of the film at all, but I was making a film like Sergio Leone. But this is Clint Eastwood, tremendous. Lee Van Cleef is in it, and this has got one of the best opening scenes of all time. Well, it's not the opening scene, the introduction of a character. It's just it's tremendous. For those of you who've seen the film, when Lee Van Cleef shows up at the guy's house he's looking for the name of a soldier for X reason, and it's just it's the tension build because he enters the scene, and then the guy instantly his entire body's like stiff and fearful, and so that in that instant you know all you need to know about Lee Van Cleef's character. He's not a good guy, and he's a tough guy. So the guy sits down, and Lee Van Cleef doesn't say a word, just starts eating off a plate, and the guy just spills all the information he has without him saying a word. It's such a cool scene, and it sets up his character so well because he's just a hard ass. And it's a tremendous opening scene. But
how old were you when you first watched it?
Oh, I was like 16.
16,
no,
right?
No, whoa. I was way older than that.
Yeah.
I was like 23 or 24.
Oh, right, okay, so it wasn't when you were a kid then?
No.
Right.
This is a style of filmmaking that I love.
Right, okay.
Cedric Wallace, the Dollars trilogy, and then Once Upon a Time in the West, which is arguably a better film.
Okay.
But I just enjoy The Good, the Bad and Ugly that wee bit more.
Right.
And then he made like a gangster epic, Once Upon a Time in America.
Yep, okay.
In 1984 or something. And it's an epic as well. It's like 4 hours long, split into two parts with like the childhood, and then there's like a time jump of 20 years where you see the kids in adulthood.
Okay.
And it's perfect. But The Good, the Bad and Ugly, and I cannot speak about Sergio Leone or The Good, the Bad and Ugly without talking about who I think is the greatest composer in film history, and that's Ennio Morricone. He's my guy.
He's your guy?
He's my guy. The Ecstasy of Gold.
He's his guy, by the way.
My guy. The Ecstasy, when that scene when there's a character called Tuco gets to a cemetery that they're looking for. And The Ecstasy of Gold, which is now probably more famous because that's the song Metallica come on stage to.
Right. Yes, I know the song. Yes.
So that's from that scene. So what happens in the film is there's 3 guys, Good, the Bad and Ugly. Clint Eastwood's Blondie. There's Tuco, and there's Angel Eyes, which is Lee Van Cleef. So Clint Eastwood and Tuco each know a separate part of where like $100,000 in cash is buried. So Clint Eastwood knows the name in the grave, but Tuco knows the name of the cemetery.
Ah, right.
They don't trust each other enough to tell each other, and that's the kind of story as we lead into it. But it's just, I fucking love it. I love that film.
I don't know why I have it, but I've got the Good, the Bad, the Ugly soundtrack on vinyl. I don't know why, but it's there in my cupboard.
Beautiful.
I did stick it on when it was years ago, and it was just I was like, yes, and then it just played, and I'm like, wow, no, it's so cool. It's so cool. Yeah.
Ennio Morricone. I've got a playlist on Spotify that I put on when I'm writing or trying to concentrate, and it's just all of his film scores.
Wow.
Because he did obviously amazing things in collaboration with like Alan Menken for The Thing, and half his score, and then there's like The Untouchables, and then there's The Hateful Eight, which was amazing as well, which he finally won his Oscar for in 2016. But aye, man, Good, the Bad and Ugly.
Let's say that's my go-to, like when I'm trying to concentrate and do things. It's like listen to John Carpenter's scores. That's my thing. Just sit and chill. And just get into the zone. So so that's your number 4 then.
That's my 4th
right.
choice.
I've changed my mind about my number 4. Right. I was going to say Jaws, but I'm pissed off at Bruce, so fuck him. Maybe that will change at a later date when it gets finished. But I'm going to go with, purely because, again, nostalgia, growing up in the 90s, and for me it's going to have to be Wes Craven's Scream. Nice. It was a pinnacle time in the 90s. Kind of horror was, lacking some decent movies in the 90s. It was just kind of straight to video kind of stuff. There was nothing coming out in the cinemas. There was nothing decent. I think they were just rehashing all the original franchises like Halloween, A Nightmare on Elm Street, and Friday the 13th. And I think the latest one that came out then would have been the last Friday. Jason Goes to Hell. Yeah, it was awful, and purely the fact is Jason's in it for 5 minutes, and people were like, "What the fuck?" And it just like, I think it's like his spirit is possessing all these different people in the town, and it was just I think one of the kind of biggest kind of franchise movies that came out in the 90s and the horror kind of genre, and I think people were getting fed up. But then Scream just came and changed everything. Wes Craven just changed the genre as well. Drew Barrymore in the beginning, you think she's going to be the main protagonist of the movie. nah,
Yeah.
you know, boom, that was the kind of the first shock of the movie. What else was there? The killer reveal. You think there's one killer, but there's two killers, you know, things like that. And it's just, there's a lot of references to the classics from the 70s and 80s, and that's what, you know, Wes Craven was just a genius for, was just like, you know, acknowledging the classics and bringing them, but making a twist on it into the kind of modern day horror.
Yeah.
But Scream, just the characters, it just shows you what that time was like, you know, with especially with teenagers back in the day, socializing, what it was all about, high school, the video store, going out drinking, parties and stuff, like things that don't really happen, you know, today.
Yeah.
You don't have video stores anymore. The parties aren't the same as they used to be. You know, so it's just like that kind of nostalgia. The high school feel as well, you know. But I just think everything about the movie was just genius, and it caught a lot of people off, and then it just sparked this huge franchise, and it went on to making like these amazing sequels, and then some not amazing sequels, and then we got Scary Movie.
Yeah.
You know, the spoof from it afterwards, you know. So but from my most, like, the thing I remember the most was the ghost face masks. Everyone was running about ghost face masks back in Halloween, and just how cheap they were as well. They were just but that's, again, I love the story behind the masks, and this, you know, that's the other thing about the controversy that went behind the mask, the licenses and all that kind of stuff that was involved, and there was a lot of lawsuits and stuff. So yeah, so for me, number 4 is going to be Scream.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice one. That's us then.
Is that us?
That's us.
Wow.
That's you got to know us. First episode in the bag. Ghostbusters, Citizen Kane, Lawrence of Arabia, and The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly for me.
Wow. And then what we have for me, what was it? Halloween. God, I forgot. What was my second choice? Terminator 2. Then we had Batman 1989, and then Scream, Wes Craven Scream 1996.
Nice.
There we go. Well, so yeah.
Look out for the next episode. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, ding the bell for notifications.
All right, cheers, guys. Thanks very much. Bye.